understand, all this stuff, how does search engine works, right? So I say think of it like ordering suya. You get in 5 minutes because the meat was already prepared ahead. So other means that search engines, which is not limited to Google, have all this database of websites that answer people's questions. So what it does is that it now, when you ask a question, it's not like a digital, just like a digital librarian that shows you where a particular book is. So if you are looking for an history book, it will show you, okay, go to this page, you will see an history. If you see, you are looking for art books, it will tell you the direction of what to do. So that's just like, that's how search engine. So it's a collective or database of websites, all website content, and show it to people in a meaningful way. That's what search engine is. So the first thing that it does is that calling. Google will first call websites, right? So they will first call the website. So if you have a website now, Google will call the website and say, okay, then does this person actually have what I'm looking for? Does this person answering something? You understand? Can I put this inside my database? Are people looking for something you are building on? Of course, you don't want to build anything that people are not looking for. So Google looks at that for you and say, okay, can I add this website to my database? Okay, if they say that this website is a good way I can present more information to my users, they'll add it to their database. Now they will now index it. Index means categorizing, right? Okay, this person is into real estate, this person into e-commerce. Let us categorize them in proper order, and then results start ranking. So that means that when Google have crawled your website, have seen all your websites, they've seen everything, and they now, once they index it, like they put it on your page, ranking now follows after. That means that even after the index your page, you might not be ranking. You might not be ranking to the first page. So there are a lot of factors that determine, as I said, results are shown based on relevance, like adding your exact order. So if all you have done is like someone that is on the page one, you would get similar results. Do you get the idea now? Let's say, for example, now you search for, okay, I'm looking for SU training in Lagos, right? Now, we know that Nivedigital Academy is at #1 as at the time I'm recording this video. Now, if anybody wants to do like us, or let's say, for example, you want to search for house for rent, let me just house for rent. Now, Nigeria Property is the one that is leading. I'm not affiliated with Nigeria Property, but for us to do like these people, all we have to do is just enter their page and see what their article is all about. How they structure their page. Now, once you replicate the similar stuff like this in a unique way, you are not just copying everything. So once you replicate the similar stuff like this in a unique way, Google will be like, okay, this person is kind of doing something related to what we are doing. That's what we did for one of our clients. You understand? You can see this is what we did for this is one of the clients we helped to rank on the first page of Google. So what we did is that we optimized their website. We try to create something similar so that they can show up like these people. Get the idea? So once you replicate similar stuff of what your competitors are doing, reverse engineer what they are doing on their website, it's more easier for you to show up, right? So that is this. Now there are a lot of search engines, right? A lot of search engines. It's not only Google now we have. If you go on and search engines right now, you're going to see a lot of websites. Now we have, let me say, I just want to, now we have DuckDuckGo, Bing, all this one. So you can see the reason why we use Google, as I've already said, is because Google, most people, more than 80% of people are using Google for their research, for their search. You understand? So why would you want to go to another place to go and search when so we SEOs will look at what people are using to optimize. That's why you see most SEOs talking about Google. Now maybe in the future Bing started Bing, more people started using Bing. We started optimizing our websites for Bing. Even though we are optimizing for search engine, most of the results that you see on Google search will be on Bing as well, very related. For example, let's go to Bing now. When you search for house for rent in Lagos, right? We search for house for rent in Lagos. Now you can see that it is Nigeria property that is still at that number one. Now, so you can see their own structure is kind of different compared to how Google is. But many people are not really going to, this place to search. Although there are people using it as well, but most people use Google to search for whatever they are looking for. So it also so that means that Bing can also you know can also pick out your website and show it on their own search index, right? So you need to make sure you understand that very well. Now there are factors, there are a lot of factors. Now Google use more than 200 factors to determine which websites will be on page one. Because at the end of the day, what you are trying to do is to increase your website visibility, to increase it to page one, to get to page one. Because the moment you create a website, Google just don't rank you immediately. Google don't just put you at the top immediately. It takes time. It takes the on-page SEO. It takes off-page SEO. All those stuff. It takes a lot of metrics. That's why sometimes people say you should wait for a minimum of 3 months for you to know how well your website is actually performing, provided you have done every other stuff. Now, Google uses a lot of ranking factors to determine how well your website is going to be at that first page. But we as here, we have come to discover some few major ones that will actually impact your rankings on Google. And as I said here, I said you have to have a quality human rating content. Google is prioritizing quality content. And of course, it has to be human rating. Now, a lot of people are using AI. AI is not bad to write content. I've tested with AI, provided that it's providing value to their user, they don't really care. But once there's a traces of a lot of AI on your website, Google doesn't really take it as a very priority like that. So you need to actually know how to mix. What I advise people is that 50-50. So maybe if you can do it, if you have the luxury of time to do it, your human rating content will be 70%, while AI content will be 30%. And of course, relevant keywords. We're going to be talking about all these one by one as we go through the training. Alright? So relevant keywords, as I said, of course, most people are searching for something on Google. If you search for how to start a blog now, you are expected to see how to search. You are expected to see blogging articles. You are not expected to see anything apart from blogging articles. Google have done that in a way. So if you are writing an article, you need to make sure you know the keywords before writing. You need to know what people are actually searching if you want to drive traffic to Google. If you don't want to drive traffic to Google, it doesn't matter. But if you are concerned about driving traffic to Google, you need to know the relevant keywords of your website. You get the idea of what I'm saying? So, and of course, the page speed and core web vitals. This is technical SEO. How fast your website. This is very important because, of course, if you have all those up page, you have good links, and your website is still slow to enter, it's a bad experience for their users, and they will just push you down and push someone that his website is kind of fast. So you need to actually understand this as well. And I said here as well, mobile friendliness. Mobile friendliness. So what I mean is that your website has to be mobile friendly. If your website is very hard for people to go to your mobile and they're just bouncing back, it's a bad experience for Google. Google can actually track heavy activities going on your website. They can track how many hours, how many minutes someone is spending on your website. So you need to make sure that you are doing the best stuff for your users that are coming on the website. And I said backlinks and social signals. That's the recommendation I talked about. Google recommending your website, people recommending your website so that Google can know that this person is actually providing good results. Do you get the idea of what I'm saying? And of course, website security. Definitely, you don't want your website to be unsecured. Not secure. You don't want it to be not secure because, of course, if your website is not secure, you should know that people want to put their cards or read because it's not secure. They are afraid of you stealing their information. And apart from that, Google doesn't bring out results that is not secured on the first page. It's very rare for Google to bring a result that is, unless Google doesn't know that that result, that website was not secured at the moment they index the page. So if they know that the website is not secure, they will not push it on the page one. So the reason why most people, and you'll be surprised that there's some websites that are not secured. So you make sure that your website is secure. Now there are a lot of factors, as I've said. There are a lot of factors that determine how far or how well your website is going to be ranked on the first page of Google. But these major stuffs are stuff that is going to help you. They are the minimum stuff that actually get results. Because you don't have to do everything Google says. You just have to do some major points and rank your website. So SEO is not complicated. SEO is not hard. You understand everything I've been talking about as I've continued the training. So just make sure that you are following me, right? So we are going to be moving on to each of these stuff now. We're going to be moving to introduction to keywords, keyword research, and the likes. Because for you to understand how SEO works, and for you to understand search engine optimization, you need to know the phrases, how to find the phrases that people are actually looking for. If you don't know how to do that, then you don't know SEO because you are just doing work blind. You don't want to work blindly. You get the idea now.